Oh, the train is still moving, buddy. How are you?
How about that? Good afternoon, man, or good morning, man.
Yeah.
I think everyone is pleasantly surprised, but this is the new era of Giants football. Brian Daboll and company, Joe Shane, they've done a really good job of getting this team where they are to this point.
Yeah, no, they have. And I know tonight, Carl, you're going to be at Hudson Hall in Jersey City with Bob Papa, and I think Sean O'Hara is coming by as well, 7 to 9 p.m.
Yeah, I won't.
You're not going to be there.
Yeah, I won't be there. I'll be there in spirit because I am traveling today.
Oh, nice.
But it was such a good time last week, and I'm so glad you were able to come out, man. That was the one thing that I'm so happy about this year, and I'm sure you because you've experienced it, Tiki, is the fan support is just unbelievable when this team does well.
Yeah, no, it is. The fan base is awesome. They dial in. It's been a long time, and there's been a lot of reasons. Yeah. I mean, the easy ones are Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, but a kid that we've been talking about a little bit, we're efforting to get him on, as Jim Rome would say, Isaiah Hodgins. He's been a marvel for this team, especially down the stretch with the touchdowns and the route running. How did he get to this point where he's invaluable to this Giants offense right now?
He is, and you have to credit the young man himself, but between the quarterback, but then when you look at how they got on the same page so fast, that's got to be good coaching. It's got to be two football players that have pretty good IQs and they connect with each other. But I just think it's the system that their coaching staff and the players are willing to work to be good. And I think that's pretty much explains it. I mean, he wasn't there.
I think he dropped. We lost Carl.
Yeah, I think we lost him.
We'll get him back up.
Yeah, he's basically talking about he wasn't there. I was just looking at the process. Isaiah Hodgins was released, put on waivers by the Buffalo Bills on November 1st. The next day, he's claimed off a waiver. So he went, I don't know where the Giants were at that point in the waiver list, but it wasn't
at the bottom because they won basically every game except Dallas.
Exactly.
So we got Carl back, by the way.
So they had to wait a little bit because there's some worse teams that passed over him. A day later, they picked up Isaiah Hodgins on November 2nd. And ever since he got in the game, he's been nothing but elite.
Yeah, they weren't on the same page. So you give the coaching staff credit, but Isaiah Hodgins and Daniel Jones and just they created a synergy that, walking off the street, you don't see that often. But I just think they've all worked together, coaching, players, quarterback. They've all done a good job of just working to be where they are right now.
Yeah, and I think, Carl, Daniel Jones he truly has become the leader. And I think that the Isaiah Hodgins situation is a testament to that because it does take work to just develop a chemistry in, a month and a half time worth time. But the biggest difference that you've seen, you called all the games his entire career. The difference between those early years and now is what? Can you put your finger on the one thing that's made him so much better and now, in a lot of people's estimation, one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league?
I think it's ball protection and confidence. I just think having the confidence that you can go out and execute offense, a consistent play calling. But I just think it's his confidence in the system. Long story short, confidence in the system that he's playing in.
Carl, it's funny. Daniel Jones and some players are not wired this way. They need to be, publicly praised to validate performance. Jones is not that kind of player, which is great. But still, you can throw me a bone a little bit. I mean, he played phenomenally this past weekend. I mean, the best of any quarterback that's entire, even better than Dak, who played great on Monday against Tampa. And, Brian Daboll, he was good. He was all right. He did a good job. And I know he's doing that for a reason. I understand it's all measured on purpose.
But what would that purpose be?
I think to keep the.
Go ahead and say it.
I think I might be wrong, but my thought is to keep the other 52 guys as engaged and almost like disperse the credit throughout the entire room and empower the room rather than just one person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think that's the main reason why he's doing. We know there's another reason too, where the market starts to
The money.
listen to, well, the market, the money and the market, but the market, the other teams start to listen to Coach Praise's quarterback, and they was Brian Dable likes him. Maybe we should take a run at him. But you're right. It is all about team, and they got there as a team, and with the support that he's gotten, offensive line, running backs, wide receivers, defense. That's who Daniel Jones is. He's a guy, and I think that's what Brian Dable wants everybody to know, that he doesn't want the credit. He just wants to do his part.
Yeah.
He wants to be responsible for doing his part in road to victory.
No, you're right about that. And it's interesting because you look at everybody on this Giants team, they're all playing their roles. And we can't help but look at what the defense has done. But last week against Minnesota, it's almost, I don't want to say they were passive, but they were much less aggressive than they previously have been. It was clearly intentional because they didn't want to give up the big play. But how do they, reignite that against an Eagles team that you kind of have to be aggressive against? Otherwise, Jalen Hurts will rip you apart.
Well, it's who they are. It's, that's I call Wink Martindale the wizard, because he comes up with things. And I think part of the reason they played the way they did in Minnesota is because Minnesota expected them to really bring the house and thought they would get some one-on-one matchups.
Yeah.
And what they did was great. And they made the play. And look, this defense, we talk about it all the time. They get better as the field shrinks. But if we look at the NFL and how defenses play, that's the only option you have right now. You're just not shutting teams down if they're a competent offense. And so you got to make the plays where they need to be made. Will he have a different game plan against Jalen Hurts? Well, he's seen him twice already. So I think it's going to be a combination of you're going to have to take Brown and do something with him, because he is the Justin Jefferson of the Philadelphia Eagles. And then you've got the other kid, the Slim Reaper out there, who can be just as dangerous.
Yeah.
So they've got their work cut out for them. But I think we've come to find out the Giants won't back down. They are not afraid. And I say this because a lot of Eagles fans, for some reason, started tagging me in social media. And I'm like, you guys are acting really insecure. You have a disgustingly talented team. Why do you feel the need to tell me what they're going to do? Just go out and do it. Yeah. It's the Eagles' game to lose.
Yeah,
is what I'll say. I mean, on paper, on the field, it's their game to lose, and it's the Giants' game to win. But like these Eagle fans that are hopping in, just be okay with how good you are, and you sound so insecure, like you're really worried about something.
I'll tell you what, Carl. In their defense, you have jumped into the social media waters a little bit. I see you putting a Daniel Jones slander
I'm
go.
Not complaining.
I know.
No, I'm not complaining.
I'm just teasing.
I'm just making a point that it's very insecure of an Eagles fan that has the most talent in the NFL to start, we're going to do this. And your guys played a very inferior offense in the Minnesota Vikings, and this is going to be different. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. No, I'm just messing, by the way. Yeah. It's Carl.
It's all good. I love it.
Absolutely.
I love the smoke on
you invite it, man.
Respectfully, though.
You get a little aggressive on Twitter. I see that Daniel Jones slander go with the little facial emoji shouting something into the ether. I see it, Carl. Sorry. So I got one more for you. It's two-time Super Bowl champ Carl Banks. And I think many of us thought certainly the Giants could win. Many of us thought they would win against the Vikings. A little different here, different spot to your point, much better team. But I think we all felt confident going back a week ago. If the Giants had to win 37-34, 34-31, they certainly could. I don't envision that ability because the Eagles' defense is just really good. So in your estimation, what's the wheelhouse kind of a score, like a happy zone where you think the Giants have to keep this to win?
Boy, it's hard. It's hard. I think the Giants can, if it becomes kind of a high-scoring game, they can manufacture some offense. But you just don't want the Philadelphia Eagles to jump out there like they did in Game 1 against the Giants. If they do that, it's tough sledding. But if they can keep it manageable early on in the game and they find their footing offensively, I think it's going to be a really good game. And I think between, the first and the second game, they kind of found a happy medium, and they kind of know what the Eagles are and how they like to do things. And here's the wild card too. Jalen Hurts has got to feel them. They've got to make sure he feels them every time he runs the football, and they're going to do a good job of protecting him. But if he decides to run, he's got to feel the defenders. You got to make him think about the injury he has.
Yeah, you go right for the shoulder. Let's not dance around it. You put a little bullseye on that shoulder. You jack him up.
Easier said than done. The shoulder is part of that neck area, so that's where
point.
they protect him. But he's just got to field defenders.
Yep.
He's just got to field defenders. He just can't run free.
All right, almost go time. Save those pipes for Saturday night. Going to be a blast. Carl Banks, thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Carl.
Thank you, man.
There you go. Two-time Super Bowl champ and, of course, part of the Giants broadcast team here on the Fan and the Giants Radio Network, the great Carl Banks.